Well, good evening, everybody. It is July the 13th, 2015. I'm Cindy K. Courier, and it's going on 8 o'clock in the evening here at the Lake Norman house, and everything's sort of winding down. And I wanted to make a video for you tonight explaining some things that I feel are going on in the world and in the United States that I feel it would be beneficial for us all to be prepared for. You might remember I did a video yesterday about a man in Isabel County, Michigan, who was being evicted, who made a statement that he was taking a stand and was not going to be removed from his house even if it cost him his life. His posting drew the attention of multiple militia groups, not just in Michigan, but across America, and has raised the tensions in this country to a considerable degree, in my opinion. And there's an opinion out there that this could actually spark some kind of civil conflict, civil war type thing. And if you've been following things, you would understand that a civil war in this country would play into the hands of our controllers quite nicely. And we must not have that. At the same time, we must not have people booted off their property unlawfully, such as what's this man's being threatened with. So we took some action today, and I want to share that with you in the way of a couple of videos. So let's just take a look at what we've got here. We may look at that one later. Let's start with Pete Santilli's report of the Michigan man that I shared with you yesterday. And we'll get past Pete's introduction here and see if we can just cue it right up and get into it.
Michigan. Here's how the story goes. A veteran in Michigan now vows to fight an unlawful foreclosure to the death. Now, I did some research on the backstory, but I want to share with you his most recent video. A standoff with the sheriff department in Michigan is now imminent. Listen to his words as he speaks in his final video, what appears to be a final video by Ted Visner.
Logan, YouTube. Sorry for the hat. I haven't had time to get a haircut here lately. Judge James in Isabella County just referred to previous proceedings in an eviction proceeding related to foreclosure that never took place, is where I was supposed to answer and bring forward the points that I brought forward today, knowing that this eviction proceeding against myself and my families and the occupants of this property that you see here behind me has not had any other opportunity to bring these arguments to court. I will not be evicted from my property. And when I say that, what I mean is I will use all appropriate force to defend my property. This is the start, folks. I would imagine that they'll show up with a SWAT team, a bunch of armed men, and it'll go down like the Bundy Ranch, only with no opposition. And I will be executed by the same sheriff's department that stole a different house in 2010.
Now, there's a backstory to that. I'll provide links. Yes, in fact, he had people within the local government there take advantage of him, stole all of his property. I will provide the link to that. You need to do some research on this man, Ted Visner's story. He's had basically a court run-in in a corrupt court system that we already know is corrupt, where the banksters are stealing homes. They are perpetrating or executing unlawful foreclosures. This man as a veteran, a Navy veteran, 6 years, chooses to take a stand and fight for, of course, for constitutionality, law and order, of course, and unfortunately it's going to go up against the sheriff's department. Now, will people come to his side to stand with him in defense of his property? If this happens to this one man, do other people believe that the same type of thing can happen to them? Well, it's happened to millions of people in unlawful foreclosures. This man chooses to take a stand. He's had run-ins with the courts, with the corrupt court system, the sheriff's department. And another thing, if you take a look at his YouTube channel, one thing that is very important is that this man has gone up against the CPS as well. It makes you wonder if this this steamrolling by the government, this unlawful foreclosure, is in retaliation for some of the work that he's done in exposing the CPS as well. Is Ted Visner?
Okay, Pete has links below his video. Please check it out. I will put a link to Pete's report below my video. This appears to me to be part of a culmination of events. And I say that because recently a document was sent to me and a request for additional documents. And as most of you know, I prosecuted a case against the U.S. corporation in August of 2014. And I don't have that link prepared. Maybe I do. Maybe I can go to procedure and just click on that to show you. I wasn't planning on showing you, but it might be something that let's see. Yeah, here we go. Heirs of Creation versus U.S. Corporation. By unanimous jury decision, the United States Corporation is guilty on all charges. And that announcement came in August. I did a video on it. These are the charges you see here. We had 2 hearings. One was a natural law grand jury hearing, and they handed down a true bill. And subsequent to that, that was in July, we had a trial, a formal trial, a natural law trial, where evidence was presented. And here's some of that evidence. And the U.S. corporation was found guilty. We sent the results to the World Court. Clicking here and you can see the results. The American National People's Sacred Grand Jury was kind enough to hear this case under natural law for us. Some of the members of that grand jury, along with other people, there was 26 some people on that grand jury. So subsequent to that, this order came out, but it was given to the attorney on the case. This order came as a result of several replevins, actually several court orders through the Court of Ages, which this is the website for, that my law partner, Kimmery Teeter, and I did, repossessing the White House and the Capitol building. And anytime you file repossession papers, you have a request for a return on service, which is what this is. The return on service came back. The White House came into possession September 1st, 2014. We found out later that a member of our grand jury was also a Swisindo delegate and passed on the results of the trial to Swisindo. They made a return on service. They actually repossessed the White House and the Capitol building, according to these documents, as well as the Federal Reserve, which we repossessed. And this is the return on service for the New York Federal Reserve. I found it interesting that this document was not forwarded to me, even though I wrote these orders. And you can find them on my Scribd account. You can Google Scribd Rise Together and come up with, I think, close to 600 orders that I wrote along with Kimmery Teeter, who was my, at that time, my common law mentor. I have since moved on to specialize in natural law, which is nothing like common law, but it was a stepping stone for me. You can read this document, by the way, by visiting AmericanLawOfTheLand.com, clicking on announcements, and this is the last posting, and I posted several documents. That's at the bottom. Subsequent to this coming out, it was requested that we issue protection orders, and that request came June the 30th of this year, 2015. And so these are the protection orders I wrote as a Justice of the Court of Ages and Ombudsman for the Respublica of Earth. And I did do a video on that, so I'm not going to read these, but these require that the corporate police and law enforcement agencies stand down. This is a public order of revocation issued by an indemnified court, lawful court, natural law court. And so these orders are enforceable. So who protects us if the police and sheriffs stand down? This is a summons to aid and assist, also ordered through the Court of Ages by myself as a Justice of the Court and Ombudsman for Respublica of Earth, summonsing everyone 18 years of age and older, domiciled in the land of America, to aid and assist as called upon by free will choice, of course, in the arrest and detainment of anyone knowingly maintaining or perpetuating the criminal activities of the corporate governments of the world. All members of the National Guard and militia in America are now deputized to act as peace officers and authorized to arrest and detain anyone knowingly maintaining or perpetuating the criminal activities of the corporate government. These two orders were issued a couple weeks ago. In light of what's happening in, where let me find Pete's of this, it was recommended that the Respublica of Earth, which as you can see on the map behind me, has over 26 of the 50 United States, 50, 51, whatever you want to consider it, United States, at least one person from each of 26 different states having signed the Articles of Confederation for the Respublica of Earth, along with 4 countries of the world. And so it was recommended that we may want to take a look at the Law of the Land Warfare Manual to see how we can protect the Respublica, those who have signed on to that Constitution, and now make up the Respublica for the United States of America. And so we did that. This is the Department of Army Field Manual, the Law of the Land Warfare, July 1956. Of course, this is the Headquarters, Department of the Army, Washington, D.C., July 15th, 1976. In this manual, things are pretty well laid out how things should be in a situation of warfare. And one of the things that my attention was called to by my law partner, Kim Marie, was neutrality. How, let's just look at Section 514. When war occurs, neutral states usually issue proclamations of neutrality, in which they state their determination to observe the duties of neutrality and warn their nationals of the penalties they incur for joining or assisting a belligerent. That means if we're invaded and America is invaded, let's say by the rogue UN, and Americans assist in that invasion, then they have responsibility to protect the people. Let's look at Section 515. The foregoing rule prohibits any unauthorized entry into the territory of a neutral state, its territorial waters, or the airspace over such areas by hoops or instrumentalities of war. If harm is caused in a neutral state by the unauthorized entry of a belligerent, the offending state may be required, according to the circumstances, to respond in damages. So in order to protect the Respublica for the United States of America, we felt compelled to issue a declaration of neutrality. And so, of course, when we look at the Articles of Confederation for the Res Publica, for the United States of America, we see that the metes and bounds are described for the Res Publica for the United States of America as 50 nautical miles into the Atlantic Ocean to the east, 50 nautical miles into the Gulf of Mexico, and 50 nautical miles into the Pacific Ocean. The Canadian boundary to the north, Mexican boundary to the south, Alaska bordered by Canada to the east, and the Pacific Ocean to the south, the Bering and Chukchi Seas to the west, halfway across the Bering Strait, and the Arctic Ocean to the north. The Hawaiian Islands, 50 nautical miles into the Pacific Ocean on all sides. Sky boundary is directly above designated areas up to and including the exosphere. Subterranean boundary is directly below designated areas to the Earth's core, or 3,958 miles, whichever is greater. All North, Central, and South American states are invited to participate in this Res Publica by free will choice and set their own boundaries. So the American articles of the new Articles of Confederation, which have been ratified as seen here, have their metes and bounds stated, and we needed to protect ourselves from invasion, it appears, from agents of the United States Corporation or the United Nations, not the organic United Nations, but the criminal United Nations, who are setting up military installations on American land as we speak. Not necessarily jade helm. I think the jade helm with the logo that has the clog is a whole different thing than that. Just to clarify, in case people get confused where I stand on jade helm. But this Declaration of Neutrality needed to be made, and I did make that on my other channel called The Shift this afternoon, and I'd like to go ahead and play that for you now. Good afternoon, everybody. It is July 13th, 2015. I'm Cindy K. Courier, and welcome to The Shift. As many of you know, especially those of you in the United States of America, things are ramping up across the world. We have military in residential areas, places on our lands that we're not used to seeing now. We have conflict, the likes of which we've never heard of before. And at the same time, we have the people rising together in a way that's unprecedented in human history. And so with that in mind, it's my honor and pleasure to present to you this afternoon a universal public service announcement. Declaration of Neutrality. Res Publica of Earth, Res Publica for the United States of America. Whether or not there's war always depends upon what we, the people, do. Through the ages, we have allowed hierarchical agents of church and state to fashion our destiny through religions, governments, and corporations, funding both sides of every issue, every ideology, and of every war. The spirit of nations tends to follow what is conveyed through corporate government-controlled media and pulpits. But now a new spirit is rising in America and across the world. Like a permissive parent caring for an unruly child, it's time to walk this barbaric age off the world stage. We do so in great number, for that is our power. We do so in neutrality, for that is our wisdom. We do so in honor of our determination that not one more drop of blood be shed in conflict. We, the people of the Res Publica of Earth and of the United States of America, do now guard our hearts against passionately taking sides. And though it try our souls, we remain impartial in thought and action, careful in every transaction to forego preferring one over another. This be our pledge this 13th day of July, 2015. Cindy K. Courier, Ombudsman, Res Publica of Earth, and the United States of America. I do believe this declaration speaks for itself. Those of you who are interested in a little background information to support that, to explain that, can visit risetogether.weebly.com and click Documents. There you'll find documents that have been posted there for the last couple of years. The first is entitled Armistice and Accord. The second is entitled Letters Patent. The third is entitled Notice of Reconciliation. And the fourth is a letter of marque. And I'll put a link to those documents below this video, as well as a link to the public service announcement that I just read. Thank you for listening. See you next time on The Shift. Okay, that was this afternoon. The documents I'm referring to there are found at risetogether.weebly.com. Click on Documents, and you'll see that the world has been warned. The corporate controlling governments were warned. We called for a cease of hostilities, and we made our requirements known here. A cessation of hostilities. And it'd be a good idea to become familiar with that so you understand what's happening and what will be happening on the world stage as we proceed. Take a look at the letters patent. Also, it would be a good idea to take a look at the Articles of Confederation for the Res Publica of Earth and become a signer if your state hasn't. And I have a list somewhere of the states, but you can just see them at the bottom here. 26 states. It'd be a good idea to get your state on here. It'd be a good idea to make your wishes known, that you support this new Constitution. This is no small thing, folks. We have reconstituted the United States of America. We have finished what was begun in 1776. With this new Constitution. Check it out. Here are signing instructions. Click there for signing instructions and where to send it, your signature, and get that in. And if you want to learn more about the foundations of natural law is not common law. There is a movement across this land to confuse the two. And I'm not accusing any one person of doing this intentionally, but there has been a marrying of the phrase common law with natural law, and they do not marry. They don't go together. Common law is slavery law. Common law is a method, a mode by which Admiralty Maritime Law and the law of commerce are established. Common law sounds good on the surface, but it's where judges set the law in courts, and precedent is set. And so subsequent court decisions are based on those precedents. And so there's no way we can be free under common law, because then we're obligated to base our court decisions, we're obligated to have the common law courts, which is a problem to begin with, and then those court decisions have to be based on precedent. Well, precedent is that we're all slaves. And lower court decisions are subject to higher court decisions, which means that our local decisions that we as a community make can be appealed to a higher court and a higher court and a higher court. And that's why little communities such as the one you heard about in California that, wanted to be on their own and prohibit fracking and that kind of thing, that didn't hold. Those decisions don't hold because there's always someone infiltrating the community who will appeal those decisions and take it to a higher court. So common law cannot work, and I'm sorry for those who have done such diligent work to warn all the judges and stuff under common law and who have taken time to learn common law. It will not help us here. I want to encourage all the National Liberty Alliance people to begin to transition to natural law and learn what that is. It's simple. It's way simpler than common law. And I want to begin, my intention is to begin really sharing educationally on the shift about how to do natural law. So check out naturallawamerica.com. It's not a big website. There's not a lot on here because natural law is not complicated. But we need to get that down because we will be called upon shortly to deal with people across the world who are probably, if they don't stand down, who probably will be compelled through natural law procedures to correct their behavior or accept consequences. The Republic of Earth is protected. We are a neutral nation, a neutral world. I don't know about the countries who don't have a representative who has signed on to the Republic of Earth. I don't know about them. I know that the United States of America is well represented. So please continue to send those in. The United States is neutral in this war. Belligerents who want to start traipsing their, transporting their war gear across this land can expect to run into opposition to that because it's not allowed. And I want everyone to know right now, it is not allowed to try to start a war on this land. You will be dealt with firmly and non-violently, peaceably, according to our Constitution. So, thank you for listening, and I'll post links at the bottom of this video, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.